Welcome to the final part of the Sunset Overdrive series. All good things must come to an end, but we are going out with a bang. For this last video, I wanted to do a weapon showcase video where I show all the weapons in the game and also show you a trick as to how you can level up the weapons really quickly. And also at the end of this video is another little surprise for you guys. So before I get started, I do want to show you how you can level up all the weapons really fast. What you have to do is redo the quest, getting the band back together, and get up to the part where you are jumping on the drums. In that part, unlimited OD just keep pouring out in huge hordes, and if you equip the second amendment amp on the weapon you're trying to level up, you'll basically have unlimited ammunition, and you can just use that very quickly to destroy OD and level up your weapon to the max in probably less than 10 minutes each. And this is also the area in the game which I'm actually going to be showing you all the weapons just because of the unlimited enemies. Makes it very easy for me to showcase the weapons. So the first weapon we have is the Shield Buddy. You can get this weapon as part of a weapon pack DLC. And what it does is it just creates a shield around you. That way nobody can hit you. And you can just smack the crap out of everybody. Not the most useful thing in the world, but it's okay, I guess. Next up is the Rager. This weapon creates mass confusion among the enemies. They kind of turn on each other and start attacking each other, and finally when they die, they actually explode. You can see which ones are affected when they're red. And this weapon is effective against OD, scabs, and Fiske bots, not so much big boss guys like Herkers or anything like that. Next up is the Flaming Compensator. This is the first weapon you get in the game. Looks like a giant penis. It's kind of nostalgic because Walter gives you this weapon. And honestly, it's quite effective. It kind of works almost like a shotgun. You can see it does a ton of damage. Just blows everybody right out of the water here. Very nice. This one is called Nothing But Hits. It's a version of the High Fidelity that you get as part of the Day 1 pack if you got the game on Day 1. You can see the vinyls are colorful, and it does a little bit more damage than the High Fidelity. But it's kind of cool because all the discs, they bounce around between the enemies, and it can kill them pretty effectively, especially the OD. The Headbanger gun is also part of a DLC pack. And it's basically a stronger version of the dude weapon. But this one's kind of cool because instead of bowling balls, it shoots out heads. That's right, heads. It's kind of crazy. The Plague Bomb is also part of a DLC. And it will infect your enemies. And they'll start throwing up all over the place, and the ground that they throw up on becomes contagious as well. And basically everybody just explodes afterwards. It can be a quite effective weapon if used correctly. This is the AKOFF, and it's very good against scabs. And it does a lot of damage as an automatic weapon. You can see it just does a ton of damage. I actually have the Burn Baby Burn amp equipped on it, and it sets enemies on fire. It's a very good combination to use on this weapon. Just burns up everything. Makes it effective against OD with that amp. This is the AKOFF. It's a DLC pack weapon, and it's a stronger version of the AKOFF. But basically the same thing, just a little bit more damage. And you can see it's not as effective against the OD if you don't have that amp equipped. But still a very powerful weapon. Especially against scabs. This right here is the proximity mine. And as the name implies, you just lay it down. And anytime an enemy gets close to it, it blows up. Like that. This is the Captain Ahab. When you shoot this, it leaves a little pool of overcharge behind, and then the OD just swarm to it. It's very good single damage shots against bigger enemies like Herkers and Spawners. And the name is a reference to Captain Ahab from Moby Dick, the whale hunter. This is the freeze bomb, and it does no damage to the enemies, but it freezes them all in place. It can be very effective. It's especially effective for big enemies like Herkers. That way you can just freeze them in place and not worry about them doing damage to you. So you can freeze these guys and then you just kill them with melee. It's quite nice. This is the High Fidelity, one of the earlier weapons in the game. We saw its variant in the Nothing But Hits. This is the original version that you get in the game. And again, it's quite an underrated weapon. It's very effective at clearing large hordes of OD. This is the Shocker. It's mainly used against Fiske bots, and basically just shoots out some electricity, and it can kill large hordes of enemy fairly quickly. It's a fun weapon to use too. This is the Pulse Mine. This weapon becomes available after you complete the quest getting the band back together. And you can throw it down and it basically just pulsates energy everywhere. And anybody that gets in that little field just explodes. This weapon is very effective in Chaos Squad. You can just throw down a bunch of these in the night defense missions and you'll get a ton of kills. This right here is the One-Handed Dragon. It's pretty good against OD, maybe some of the bigger enemies as well. Basically, you attach a little firecracker to an OD and then it blows up. And if they're in a big group of people like that, it'll just kill a lot of them. It also sets them on fire, which is very nice for OD. Also looks cool. This is the MultiLock rocket launcher. This weapon is part of a weapon pack DLC. And it kind of works like heat sensing missiles. You can lock on to multiple targets depending how high the weapon level is. And then once you release the button, all the rockets go flying and kill those single targets. This weapon is called Feel the Burn. You get it after completing Mommy Issues quest on the Moo Oil Rig DLC. And it just sets everybody on fire. And what's really cool about it is that you can level it up to level 6 and get unlimited ammunition for it. Look at this. Just burn hordes of OD. This is the only weapon you can get to level 6. This is the Dude. It's a pretty weird little weapon and shoots out a bowling ball. It's effective against pretty much all sorts of enemies, but it's just a little bit harder to use and aim. It's a reference to the Dude from The Big Lebowski. He obviously liked to bowl, and yet another reference in this game. This is the Shorty Shudder. Nothing too exciting about this weapon. It basically functions like a shotgun, and you can see you can kill big areas of enemies with it, especially at close proximity. This is the Murderang. This weapon is unlocked after you complete the Hot Dog quest. And basically it shoots out these little beams and they return to your weapon. So kind of like a boomerang. And again, it's quite underrated. You can clear very large areas of enemies pretty fast with this weapon. This is the Charge Beam, very effective against Fiske bots. And if you've done the challenges, you know that the weapon challenge for this one is a pain. But it's a very fun weapon to use. It's very effective against the OD as well. especially once you max it out to level 5. The Acid Sprinkler, probably one of my favorite weapons in the game. Just super effective at killing anything. Look at this, you can just set it down and anything that comes near it just blows up. Bam. Very good for night defense missions and Chaos Squad. Just set some of these down and nothing will touch you. This is the Turretcopter, another very good defensive weapon. You can just let a bunch of copters around and they'll do all the work for you. They'll just shoot everybody. It takes it a while to get going, but once it starts, no enemy will be safe. Also pretty effective for night defense missions and setting up perimeters. This is the Haughty Shoddy weapon. It's a variation of the other weapon, the Shorty Shudder. This one is only available as part of a weapon pack DLC. And again, it functions like a shotgun, very good at close range. The Roman Candle, it's an automatic weapon, very good against OD, scabs. And this is one of the most fun weapons to use in my opinion. Just like a little machine gun, and it looks super cool. Just fireworks everywhere. Definitely one of my favorite weapons to use in the game, even though it may not be the most effective one. Here we have the TNT. You get this weapon by doing the A New Friend quest very early on in the game. It's a very effective weapon. Explosive. You can blow up large hordes of OD. Just super cool, and probably one of the weapons that a lot of people will use consistently throughout the entire game. Now, if you watch my playthrough, I don't even have to school you on the hairspray bomb. This is by far the most powerful weapon in the game. You blow up everything. Bosses, OD, scabs, Fiske bots. Equip the Second Amendment amp on this so you never run out of ammo, and you're good to go. You're just a destroying machine and nothing will stop you. This is the best weapon in the game by far. Next up, you got the Taunt Bot, probably the most useless weapon in the game. And what it does is it creates a little robot, and the robot kind of hits anything that gets close to it, as you can see. But it really is not the most effective thing on the planet. You can see it's kind of slow, doesn't really do much, and doesn't really protect you that well either. So here we have the Swarming Nanobots. You can obtain this weapon by completing the Cloudomajigger quest in the Dawn of the Rise of the Fallen Machines DLC. It's kind of a cool weapon, but I don't think it's too effective. But it creates a little cloud of nanobots that just consumes everything that touches it. The next weapon is the Fiske ODSRC. You get this quest by completing the It's Just Business quest in the DLC, Dawn of the Rise of the Fallen Machines. Basically, you can lock onto some targets, and then some huge beams of light, and sometimes a satellite will come from the sky and just annihilate everything. Fun weapon to use, not the most effective one though. The Propane Launcher is a very powerful explosive weapon that does damage to basically anything, and you can only unlock this weapon by playing Chaos Squad, and maybe if you're lucky enough after playing around, you'll get this as a reward. Similar to the TNT, packs a bit more of a punch though in my opinion. The Rivet Blaster. This weapon is a ton of fun to use. You get it in the Moot Oil Rig DLC. And what you can do with it is establish an electric current between 2 or more points. And if you just kind of spam it on the ground, you can create a giant electric field in which nothing will survive in. It's very good for setting up a defensive position, and it's very good for night defense missions. the Fizzball rifle. This is a rifle that Fizzbots use, and then you can use it against them. Very effective against the actual Fizzbots. And it's kind of fun to use. Maybe not the most effective weapon out there, but it's still kind of cool. Finally, we have the Dirty Harry. You get this weapon very early on in the game. Super effective against scabs. And if you watch my playthrough, you know this is my go-to weapon for any sort of boss or big enemy. Any herker, any spawner, any boss. You can do a ton of damage with just single shots from this weapon. So those are all the weapons in the game, and here we are where it all started, in the home area. And I just wanted to thank you guys for watching this series while I'm showing off all of the achievements. I did 100% the game as I promised I would. It's been a ton of fun. This is the end of an era. Sunset Overdrive is finished, but fear not, there are a ton more exciting games on my channel. I want to thank all of you who supported this series, all of you who watched maybe just one episode, and especially those of you who watched the entire series. Greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you on the next game.